So the Las Vegas Raiders have made more moves on this roster, some of which are quite surprising. We're going to get into all that and more on today's episode of the Raider D Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much for all 12,000 of you who have subscribed. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do me a huge favor and hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, and make sure you hit that bell notification so that you get notified whenever there is Las Vegas Raiders news being dropped on the daily right here on the Raider D Podcast. Now, let's get into some of the moves that the Raiders have made, because I'm a little bit shocked about how all of this has gone down, particularly in the quarterback situation. But we're also going to talk about the new addition to the linebacker room, which, why we need more linebackers, I don't know, but we just added another one. So first and foremost, let's talk about the issue with Aiden O'Connell and Cam Miller. Apparently, the Raiders have now gone ahead and waived both Cam Miller and Tommy Mellott. That means that Aiden O'Connell is still on the 53-man roster, and he is still listed as QB2 on the website. Now, obviously, he's not QB2 right now. They're just listing him as that because he is intended to be the QB2 once his wrist gets healed up. But right now, Kenny Pickett will obviously have to be QB2. There is no doubt about it, because you can't have an injured guy who can't throw the ball be QB2. But this is very interesting, because we all thought that what this meant is that the Raiders would keep Cam Miller as QB3 and Kenny Pickett would be QB2. And this may have meant the parting of ways of the Raiders with Aiden O'Connell and him being traded away once his wrist was healed, even if it was to reclaim a 5th-round draft pick like the one we spent to get Kenny Pickett, which again is still mind-boggling. Out of all the quarterbacks that the Raiders could have traded for, Kenny Pickett was the last one on my mind, but I hope that he does well. He's a Raider now. Let's hope that he can have a revamping to his career. Again, he's just a backup quarterback. Hopefully he will never have to play a single snap this entire year. Geno Smith, we need to stay healthy, and if he does, we're going to be in a much better situation. But what does this mean now that you've waived Cam Miller, a guy who apparently Tom Brady vouched for, and he could get picked up off of waivers? Now, if he doesn't get picked up off of waivers, the Raiders will obviously then sign him back to the practice squad. But now what do you do with Aiden O'Connell? When his wrist is healed, are you going to keep Aiden O'Connell at QB2? Listen, when it comes down to it, Aiden O'Connell, if he has time, if he feels comfortable, he can chuck the ball pretty much all over the field. Where he struggles is that deep ball accuracy. Sometimes he tends to underthrow his receiver. We've seen this time and time again with him and Trey Tucker, where Trey Tucker is just so fast that Aiden O'Connell throws the ball too short and Trey has to stop and come back for the ball. What would have been an easy touchdown, a walk-in touchdown for Trey Tucker, ends up being a big gain or an incompletion, but not a touchdown. So that's one of the things with Aiden O'Connell. And then obviously Pete Carroll coming in and saying that we are slower on offense when Aiden is out there. That's not a big boost of confidence for your quarterback. And I would have to say, if I was Aiden O'Connell, I wouldn't be feeling too confident about my position. But then the Raiders release all of their waive list. And on that, another one that I was pretty shocked by was Sincere McCormick. I thought that he would make the 53-man roster, but he has been bounced back down to the waive wire and probably the practice squad, either with the Raiders or he'll get picked up by somebody else, because he is a pretty decent running back. Is he an Ashton Genty? No, but he is pretty good. He'll pick up a couple of 3-4 yards when you need him to. Now, I think that after all of everything that has gone on with bringing in Kenny Pickett, Aiden O'Connell, Kenny Pickett is a dual threat quarterback, Geno Smith is a dual threat quarterback, Cam Miller is a dual threat quarterback, Aiden O'Connell is not. He's the oddball out. So I honestly thought that this was the death knell for Aiden O'Connell's career with the Raiders and he would be moved on from as soon as he is healthy enough to trade. The problem is they've now set Cam Miller on waivers. He could get picked up, or he could be on the practice squad. And if that's the case, the Raiders could still then trade Aiden O'Connell. I think Aiden O'Connell does have some trade value. I know some people, like my boy Mitchell, seems to think that there is zero trade value for him. Listen, he's a better quarterback, just pure quarterback, than Kenny Pickett. And the Raiders gave a 5th round pick for him. So I think that there would be a team out there, especially if some injuries occur later in the season, before the trade deadline, who would absolutely love to grab an Aiden O'Connell, especially if he fits their system, which is more of a pocket quarterback situation. Now, that being said, let's go ahead and talk about the new addition to the linebacker room, because this also needs to be talked about. So the Raiders go and they claim Brennan Jackson, who is a mid-round pick. He's an outside linebacker. He's quick. He has had 3 sacks during the preseason. He has a 16.7% win rate. He's an outside linebacker who can get to the quarterback, and I think that that's what the Raiders are looking at him for. I think that the Raiders are looking for a linebacking core that can put a lot of pressure on the quarterbacks this year. I don't think we're going to play as conservative as we have the past couple years with Patrick Graham. I think Patrick Graham's defensive playbook is about to open wide open. I think we're going to see a lot of crazy style blitzes, from linebacker blitzes to corner blitzes, safety blitzes. I think you're going to see a bunch of mix and match from man to zone, and we're going to try and keep the defense confused as to what's going on, but more importantly, keeping the quarterback uncomfortable back there in the backfield. We have to make sure that quarterbacks are not able to just stand in there and just get, first down after first down after first down. And I think that that's why you bring in a guy like Brennan, because he can do that. He's very adept at getting off of blocks and getting to quarterbacks. Now, is he an all-around good linebacker? Is he a star? No, obviously that's why he was waived despite getting 3 sacks in the preseason, because he has some holes in his game. Coverage is not as good as we'd like it to be, and he's not as strong in the run as we would like it to be. However, that could be improved upon, especially when you have a head coach like Pete Carroll. And so for me, I think right now one of the biggest weaknesses that the Raiders have is at the cornerback position. We're not really solidified there. We don't really know what the corners are going to be like this year. We traded away our best corner in Jacorian Bennett, and now we don't know where we're going to be. So corners and linebackers, these two positions, we don't know how they're going to gel. We don't know how they're going to do in this new system, because they're all new. They're pretty much all new, either rookies, new to the team. Eichenberg is the only one that was here from last year pretty much. And so I think that the Raiders, if we're going to have some weakness in those positions, you solve that weakness by putting pressure on the quarterbacks and not giving them time to have accurate passes. Guys, if you like this kind of content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Make sure that you are subscribed, because YouTube keeps unsubscribing people randomly. This is not just my channel, it's all channels. If you haven't seen a video for a while, they may have unsubscribed you. So go ahead and just check your subscription status, and if it says no, hit that subscribe button. Also, I would like to say, before we go any further, I would just like to say thank you to today's sponsor, which is Box House. You guys have heard me talk about them a lot of times now, and it's because I truly believe in the product and the ownership over there at Box House. Kevin Ross is a stand-up dude. Box House is a stand-up company. They're going to take good care of you. They got the best prices in the nation, and they can deliver just about anywhere. So if you need an ADU, if you need a small, tiny home, if you need a yoga studio or a workout studio in your backyard, got to check out Box House and all of the different options that they have over there. Quality company, quality product, quality ownership, and they support the Raiders. So let's go Box House, and let's go Raiders.